Hey, YouTube, and hey, Mego Ambassador Scarpad from Scarpad's Comic Treks jumping in here to just do a quick reveal and a little commentary on some of the new figures which I received today. Yesterday, I got my first two Topps figures ever. They're already back there in the rack. Got the Green Arrow, got Ra's al Ghul. Love the look of Ra's al Ghul. Green Arrow one I thought was okay. And today I got 4 boxes. All came in at the same time. I think I still have a couple boxes outstanding, but I think I'd jump in here, show you what I got, talk a little bit about them, and give you my 2 cents. So why don't we go ahead and do that. The first two I've kind of opened up already here. And this is Lieutenant Worf from Star Trek, The Next Generation. So we got the Star Trek packaging here. I think the face on Worf is dead on. Really happy with that figure. And as I have been with most of the Star Trek figures, there's the back of it. And we have Dr. Mego Consultant, Andy Koval, Sculptor, and Seamstress Brian Leitner. And there he is. Okay, now another Star Trek came in the same box. I was not a big fan of this figure, and I'm still not a big fan of this figure. Probably the weakest one I've seen so far. That's the Borg Queen. I don't like the face sculpt. I know what they were going for there. You know, there's the back of the package. I don't know. Is that the Borg Queen Gilardi like was in Picard? I hope not. But that's the Borg Queen. I'm not, not a big fan of the suit. I'm definitely not a big fan of the head sculpt. And this is Dr. Mego, Sculptor Tyler Ham, who's done great things in the past, and Seamstress Rachel Baker. So, but I didn't like the Locutus they put out either, and I wasn't a big fan of that figure. Now, let's talk about these two things real quick here. Now, as Mego people probably know, there's been a little bit of controversy because, well, there's always been the Topps sales had quite a bit of controversy, but we won't go through all that again. I was happy with the majority of the figures. One thing I'm not happy about, and I wasn't even aware of, but I guess it was addressed once it came out. I'm not sure if it was addressed before it came out, was the fact that these figures are debuting the new bodies, the bandless bodies that Mego has put out. And so far they seem okay to me as far as, posability and whatnot. But in most instances, these 8-inch figures are not 8 inches. It's about 7.5. Now, this was done on a regular old body. And if you break out the tape measure here, we can go head to stern here. Worf is 8 inches. The Borg Queen is, well, I don't know if you can see that. She's about 7.5. And so about 7.5 with all these figures. I noticed on the Green Arrow that he's up there, standing next to Superman, Batman. He's the shortest superhero now in the collection. I'm not overall too happy with this because I think if these bodies were going to be not the same size, I mean, you can see how many Mego figures I have. A lot of guys leave them in the package, and I guess if you leave them in the package, then in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't matter. But a lot of us guys take them out of the package. And scale within a collective is always important. I mean, I have all these 8-inch figures over here from Mego. Regardless of the scale, they're all 8 inches, and that's what they all should be. So when they're standing up next to each other, sans hats or whatever else they're wearing, they're 8 inches long. If not, it looks funky, I'm going to have Star Trek figures over there, and the new Mr. Spock standing next to the old Mr. Spock, and he's going to be shorter. And in a lot of the cases, the heads on these things are even smaller. Now, interestingly enough, I guess, when you take the clothes off these as I guess they've done some clothes swapping to an 8-inch old body from a 7.5-inch new body. The clothes do still fit. At least that's what they're telling me. But still, I mean, to me, that's that's not really it's not really good. Not really good at all. Now, according to I guess Paul Clark, it's been addressed. So going forward, I guess the 8-inch new bodies will be 8 inches. But what's going to happen with these? Is Wave 15 going to be like this when it comes out? We know the rest of the tops figures are going to be like this, but will Wave 15 be like this? And should they offer should they offer an 8-inch body replacement? I think they should. They when they messed up Dr. McCoy, they offered replacements for him when his pigment was off. Because let's face it, big collectors have spent a lot of money on Mego figures, and we're mixing these in next to the rest of our figures, and they all don't look like the same figure. So I personally would say they should swap out and give you an 8-inch body for those people who want them. Me, I probably won't send them back. I don't know. Well, once I get them all unboxed and they're standing up there and if they irritate me enough, if they offered a swap, I'd probably go ahead and accept it. I think they should do it. Will they do it? I don't know. Because none of us, how many people would have bought these to begin with if they said the new bodies are a half-inch smaller than what you've been getting for the last, 4 years, 3 years, 2 years, whatever. I probably would have thought twice about getting them. As I said, some of these Topps figures are going to be on 8-inch bodies, and then some of them are not. So let's see what else we have here. A couple of the Planet of the Apes figures, Zera. And there's the back of the card. And that's Dr. Mego, Andy Koval, and Brian Leitner. And keep your stinking dirty 8 paws off this. George Taylor. Pretty nice. I like the sculpt is nice on this of Charlton Heston. And I do like the outfit. And that's Dr. Mego, Andy Koval, and Brian Leitner. Now, let's get the handy dandy tape measure out. So George Taylor is 7.5 inches, and you can kind of tell the proportions on these, as is Zera. So both of these Planet of the Apes ones are small, so they're going to look small when placed up against the ones that are on your shelf. As I said, if they're in the packages, it won't matter. But if not, so that's somewhat disappointing. Somewhat disappointing. Let's try this one. Yeah. Overall, packed pretty well from Topps. And they should be for the price you paid. So the Phantom of the Opera. Now, as I said, I picked up a few of these because the Wave 15 is going to have some of these figures as variants with slight differences. There's the Phantom. There's his face. And there's the mask he's holding. I think the mask is going to be a little different on the So this is Dr. Mego, Tyler Ham, and Brian Leitner. And the original Hammer artwork in the back, I like that. And here's the Plague of the Zombies. I like that. That's cool. Very cool. And the back. I gotta watch this movie. I haven't seen that one in a long time. That's Dr. Mego, Sean Sansom, and Pandora Taggart. Let's break out the. Okay, so the zombies are 8 inches. So that's 8 inches. And it looks like the Phantom is 8 inches. So both of these figures are 8 inches. And last but not least, this one up. See what we got. Okay. Core, the Klingon. With Disruptor. Great artwork on the back. And Dr. Mego, James Brady, and Brian Lightner. And I already know this is a 7.5-inch figure because they've been comparing them online, as is Mr. Spock. This one's 7.5 inches as well. And here's Mr. Spock in his Star Trek the Motion Picture outfit. You got some hefty eyebrows there. And back. And it's Dr. Mego, Andy Covalt, and Brian Lightner. And I like how for the most part, the phaser and communicator are movie accurate, which is nice. But bummer, 7.5 inches. So standing next to the rest of them is going to be an issue. Maybe I'll do some, I don't know. There's going to be plenty of videos online that's going to show, is going to show the difference. It's also that the packages on these do say Core the Klingon 8-inch action figure. They're not. So if somebody wants to push the issue for refunds or whatever, they could do it. They would have valid reason to do it because the packaging is misleading. If they're not 8 inches, they should have put them out in packages that said they were 8 inches. So we'll see where that goes. I hope Mego will address this and offer body swaps for those who want to, bring them up to par with the rest of the collection. We'll see. And maybe I'll pop back in here and do a video about that when that's all said and done. Okay, well, that's about all I have for you right now. I just want to pop in, show those off, put out some of my 2 cents on and all that. And hope you guys are receiving your figures. And when I get more, I'll pop back in here and show them off. So thank you, everybody, for stopping in here. I hope you get your figures soon. Have a great evening, and we'll catch you later. And remember, a half inch is a half inch.